Well, here we are in Kerrville, Texas, and I wanted to show you this geology. We're in a little gully area, okay? And you see the layering. So we got this layer here, right? Not sedimentary, because you can see it's not flat on the top, it's totally gouged and textured. And sedimentary layers, you'd see these smooth lines throughout. There's nothing like that. So there's this layer, then there's this next layer, then there's another layer, and it keeps going up, right? And as we go down, we see the step down of the layers. Okay, we see straight line fracturing. Which would not happen in nature. There's no reason for these straight lines to happen in nature. None at all. So straight line fracturing here. Really clear evidence. Here's another straight line fracture in the quote geology. Another straight line fracture. And always the layers. So here we have this main layer, right? And then where do we start? And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 layers. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Non-sedimentary, right? Concrete-like material, extremely hard, extremely hard. I haven't been down here yet. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah. So, layers. Layers. Just layers of concrete is basically what you have. Layers of concrete. Straight line sectioning. Right? No reason for that. If there's fracturing, it's not going to be at a right angle, it's not going to be in a straight line. Right? Geologists have to call this fracturing. They have no other option. Because they believe it formed naturally. Right? Geologists have to call that fracturing. Okay. They have to call this a natural fracture. That straight line. They have to call this a natural fracture. They have to call this a natural fracture. And so it goes. But what we see all along this gully as I've walked down here is that the sides of the mildly sloping hill on either side, so both sides coming in, you see a step down in the concrete, step down, step down, step down, step down, step down. It just keeps stepping down until it gets to this relatively flat area. And this is simply where the two hills meet. We call it a gully. We'd say it was formed by erosion or something like that over millions of years. Is that right? Is that what happened? Erosion? Erosion of this concrete? Well, you might erode one layer. How are you going to erode the rest? And by the way, they step down. So it's clearly a step down here too. It's not just stepping down from the sides of the hills, it's stepping down in the center. Right? I'm just going to keep going. I haven't been this way. I did find a footprint of a four-toed dinosaur about a mile from here. No idea what that means. It's in the same kind of material. Our timelines are really radically being changed right now, so there's no way to know how far back that footprint came. So we got sectioning, right? So layering and sectioning. Lots of layers, non-sedimentary. Geologists could only say this is sedimentary. But then we have this incredible straight line sectioning. Essentially flat, always stepping down, always stepping down. Stepping down from the side, stepping down from the side, stepping down from the center toward us. Incredible, absolutely incredible. And you say, well, why would anyone build this? Oh, that's a good question. Layers, non-sedimentary, and therefore you say, but if they're non-sedimentary, how'd they get here? And then you say, well, look, below this hard, super dense concrete-like material is something softer. Now this is just like in the Bosnian Pyramid complex, where the hard terraces of baked claystone alternate with soft clay, and the soft clay is earthquake mitigating clay. That's why the structures can stand for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of years. Because you have the soft material alternating with the hard material. Now here you don't see so much soft material, it's mostly hard. All these layers, all those are hard, right? It's interesting to see the soft stuff below the hard. And you have to wonder if maybe in the layers below this, if that's where the softer material is, and then they sort of capped it off with hard material to keep the water off of it. Let's go down further, see what we find. Most of the big slabs are covered over by leaves and smaller stones. So this is a rarity to be able to see this stuff exposed like this. It's good, but you see the step down, step down, step down, the layers, and then the sudden step down. So I put geology in quotes because my theory is that this is ancient concrete, and I don't know what kind of creatures roamed the earth back then when they were laying this down, but there was a four-toed animal walking around, relatively large. And this could have been done in phases, so there's really no way to date any of this. Different civilizations could have come and done this. Here's some more straight line sectioning. Really straight line there. Straight line section. So I've also been looking for imprints in the rocks to see if I could find any sign of, if it was some kind of humanoid or similar race that put this down, they'd leave a footprint. Hopefully they'd leave a footprint by accident or some kind of sign that could tell us what sort of beings it was that did all this work. But of course this work may have been done by means that we don't understand at all. It could have been laid down using sonic technology that heats up loose material layer by layer. And where did they magic this material up from? I mean, it had to come from somewhere, right? So maybe they knew a way to create material essentially out of thin air. Wouldn't really be out of thin air, but it would seem to be. More layers, more straight line sectioning, which means, you know, sectioning just means they're gonna do a piece until it ends. They're gonna do a piece that's that big, then they're gonna do another piece, then they're gonna do another piece, then they're gonna do another piece. So, because they couldn't just magic it up all at once, they couldn't just do one section that's a mile long. They just did small sections, and those sections are marked by the section lines, which may or may not be straight line, but often are. So I'll just keep going here. Okay. Interesting. This is what happens in the Bosnian Pyramid Complex too. You got different kinds of material or manifestations of the same material. So this is kind of modeled and tortured, this stuff right here. And then right below it is more smooth, less tortured material, but it's very interesting. It could be the same stuff. It just has a different appearance. But it's all super hard concrete. You know, you've got these layers, then you've got the sectioning right between them. That's where they stopped, you know, and started a new area. I don't want to call it a stone. Concrete-like block. So they step down, they step down, they step down, and this is flat, totally flat here. Very interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, look, here's some water. Okay. It's February 17, 2018. And we've got a little water here. Yeah. Interesting. Sectioning, not straight line here, but basically straight line there. This one's curving. Wow, that's some serious layering there, huh? Yeah. And it's all hard layers. There's no soft earthquake mitigating layers, it doesn't look like. Unless maybe this layer is soft comparatively. Yeah, that's very soft, yeah. Yeah, this stuff's soft. And then you got your hard layer there. Wow. Looks like somebody's been doing some stuffing of little tiny layers right in there. That looks sort of artificial, like another artificial situation there. Interesting. Maybe more modern for some reason. Incredible layering. Then you got your straight line sectioning. Straight line sectioning. Straight line sectioning. It just ends and they start again. So I guess the deer probably come down here to drink. I was wondering where they got their water from, and now I know. Alright, so we're going to keep our eyes open for anything unusual, footprints, fossils of any kind that can help us to figure out what went on here. When the sun is low on the horizon, you get really good shadows on the stones, and you can see imprints a lot more easily. So the sun's pretty low. It could be lower, but the clouds are just dissipating right now. So that's good. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, here's something pretty interesting. See that? Some kind of imprint there. Right here. Similar. Similar here. And similar here. So you can see the kind of curves around. So starts here, stops, starts here, starts here again. But there's all sorts of weird holes and strange markings on and pock marks all through this quote geology unquote here in Kerrville, Texas. Lots and lots of pock marking and roughness, and it's just the strangest looking stuff. It's like they laid it down really quick, and then there's like all these air bubbles that formed because it wasn't quite, they were trying to do it too fast, and a lot of air got caught or something, Really straight stones, looking a lot like a construction stone. The geologist would say it has to be sedimentary. It's not sedimentary. So then you say, well, what else could it be? If it's natural, what else could it be? And there is no answer. And then you go, well, if they couldn't have built all this, who would have done it? That's the logical sort of end of the conversation. It has to be natural, because no one would have spent this much time building a couple of hills. And if they built these two hills, they would have had to build all the other stuff that's connected to it. And that's insane. It's too much work, and why would anyone do that? But if we keep looking at the evidence, it keeps pointing toward an artificial construction. And when we realize that our technology is incredibly limited, incredibly antiquated, and that other civilizations have had millions and millions and millions of years to perfect technology that to us would be like magic, then you say, well, maybe building this wouldn't be that much work for somebody with the means to heat up material with sound. So you have sonic heating probably at a distance, so you wouldn't even have to be on the Earth. You could just sort of be layering the Earth from the sky, or from someplace even further than the sky. I mean, there's so many possibilities, you know. Incredible.